Good evening, I'm at Canton Township.
Segrist, present. Canton. Slavens
Good evening. I'm in Canton Township.
and Snyderman.
I am here in Canton Township.
Thank you. Our first item is to go into closed session to discuss union negotiations. Can I please have hear a motion to go to closed session?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board go into closed session for the purposes of discussing strategy for union negotiations at 6:40.
Support.
Thank you. Can we please have a roll call for the motion?
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Stephen? I didn't hear an aye.
I think he's frozen.
Oh,
I'm back, sorry. Aye.
okay, great. Thank you. So we'll leave this meeting open for everybody, all the attendees to know, and we are going to go to another meeting for a closed session. We will be back when the closed session is over, so you can stay on this meeting.
Supervisor, I move that the board go from closed back into open session.
Support.
Please take a roll call on the motion.
Borninski.
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Okay, due to the technical difficulties that we were having, we are going to vote, we are going to adopt the agenda with this change. We're going to pull up the public hearing after we approve the agenda. So the public hearing will be first, and then we will go into the rest of the agenda at that time. Are there any questions on that?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the agenda as amended.
Support.
Please take a roll call on the motion.
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
All right, thank you. So I want to can I hear a motion to go into public hearing for the sidewalk repair program? Go ahead.
Madam Supervisor, I move to open the public hearing to hear comments on the necessity of sidewalk repairs pursuant to the Township Sidewalk Ordinance, Sidewalk Repair Program Policy, and as provided in Public Act 80 of the Public Acts of 1989.
Support.
Thank you. The sidewalk ordinance became effective on July 1st, 1999, was amended on August 2nd, 2001. The ordinance was adopted to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the citizens of the Charter Township of Canton through adoption of regulations concerning the construction and maintenance of sidewalks within the township. Sidewalk ordinance requires the township to hold a public hearing regarding this necessity of repairs for the 2021 sidewalk repair program. So we please have a roll call on the motion to open the public hearing.
So been moved and seconded, it would be appropriate for a vote.
Okay, great. All right.
Foster,
Aye.
Borninski,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
All right, so the public hearing is open and we have 30 attendees. If you have anything that you would like to say, actually, Clerk Segrist, do you have any comments that you would like to read?
I do. I had individuals submit comments prior to the meeting. One of those individuals is in attendance and has indicated that they would like to speak instead. So I will read on behalf of the two individuals who submitted comments ahead of the meeting. And I don't know, Jade, if you want me to promote Erica at all, or, okay.
That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. I don't see the individuals in attendance, and if you are, I apologize, but so here goes. Hello, board. Due to what the world has just gone through and is still going through, I would kindly ask that you consider postponing the sidewalk repair project until 2022. So many people have either been laid off, reduced hours, and or even suffered pay cuts. Not to mention, many families have been dealing with the emotional, mental effects that this pandemic has had on their children. I would also ask, per the letter recently received, it shows me having roughly 10 to be replaced, 10 slabs. I don't see this when I walk about, nor do I see how all of these are considered the homeowner's responsibility. This is a big chunk of money that you are expecting me to pay. So again, I would ask that you consider postponement. And as I'm reading this, I just remember, typically we have a presentation ahead of public comment. Is that what
Do
we
we have any?
to do, or should I continue to read? I mean,
Did you have a presentation, Jade?
I did not. I can pull up the one that
Oh.
I gave just about, a month ago and go through the same thing if you would prefer.
never. I forgot we already did a presentation on it. But I just have a substantial number of these questions are answered through the presentation, but. All right,
Do you want
If
to
you'd
pull it
like,
up?
if you'd like me to, I can. It'll just take me a minute.
Okay.
Okay. I have up now the subdivisions are going to be, I will correct the subdivisions when we get to that part with what's appropriate in the RBA, but I can go through the basics of the presentation.
Are you able to share?
I will do that now.
Great, it worked. Okay.
Okay, and you see the presentation, not my RBA?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Oops. Okay, so the sidewalk repair program, it's a program that's been in place since 1999. In 1997, Canton lost a landmark case at the Michigan Supreme Court where we were held liable for the sidewalks, and we needed to start the sidewalk program. And so this has been in place for almost 20 years at this point. It began with the inspection of the oldest subdivisions that were platted in the subdivision. And then, and I apologize, I've got to get this out of my way. Okay. So we started to take a look and broke up the township into different zones. When initiated, the program took 16 years to address the entire township. And now that through consolidation and the work of Eric Hidalgo, it covers the township in 12 years. The ultimate goal of this program is to actually get it to cover the entire township in 10 years. And concerns about the program are typically handled as a service request through the engineering department. So as we work through the public hearing tonight, and whatever the board decides, we will go ahead and give anyone that's concerned the email address or phone number to the engineering department, and we can handle those concerns later as well. In regards to we are in zone 6, and oh, I do have it on here. So I covered this actually last month as well. So not the 2021 zone 5 partial, those are the ones that are carryover from last year, but the 2021 zone 6 is actually what's going to be covered and what the public hearing is on tonight, which those are the 6 subdivisions that you see there: the Hidden River Estates, Huntington Place, Kimberly Meadows, Meadow Village of Canton, Northwoods Place, and then Pinewood. Every year, the township works on 3 different sidewalk repair programs. 1, there's a warranty work. 2, there's current construction repair. And then 3 is the future marking and quantities, which will set us up for subsequent years. So 2022, we do start that process during 2021. So the areas that you're seeing now were actually marked, and the research was done prior to back in 2020. Sidewalk inspections for the following year, we have a targeted zone, and it's advertised in the local paper and also shown on the website. As inspections are done, the defective concrete is marked and photographed, and then the quantities are then measured and charted by the parcel ID. Red dots indicate that the township will be responsible for those being replaced, and then green dots are the areas that are the residents' responsibility. So here's some examples of what would initiate a piece of sidewalk or a slab of sidewalk that would need to be repaired underneath this ordinance. Displacement, some of these are pretty self-explanatory. As you can see, the sidewalk displacements is where there's a 3/4 inch or greater between any two slabs, and that's in a rise. We have a spalling sidewalk, which is any 5 linear foot of sidewalk, and where it's greater than 50% of the surface is scaled off and creates a trip hazard as well. Spider cracking, you can see on the left here. If that's not taken care of, then you could end up with spiders cracking, looking like a spalling sidewalk in the near future. Sorry, I just jumped slides back and forth on you guys. And then cracked sidewalks. Obviously, that's pretty self-explanatory too, where the cracks are 1/4 inch or greater in any 2 linear feet of section of sidewalk, because those cracks are obviously going to get worse over time as well. Ponding water, where it has the sidewalk has actually settled and allowed water to pond to a depth of 3/4 inch or more. And then also we look at the switch or the slope, as a lot of people like to call it. And you can see a lot of that has to do when there are trees in the right of way that do affect the sidewalk slope. Utility repair, if a portion of the sidewalk's removed or damaged as a result of a utility repair, that is picked up. Township owned utilities, you can see there that's in red. That would absolutely be the responsibility of the township wherever you have sanitary manholes or water system gate valves. Same thing with storm sewer manholes that are owned by Wayne County. We would also address those too. And that's a good indication. That picture right there is a good indicator too, or a good visual that shows you where the sidewalk has multiple areas that are responsible by the homeowner, but then also a couple of slabs that are responsible by the township. And then when we're going through the sidewalk program, we always bring it into ADA compliance. So if we are in an area and we see that there is a need for an ADA approach, then we will go ahead and address that and convert that and make that ADA accessible up to today's standards. If there happens to be a ramp that leads across into a driveway or it goes nowhere, such as into a greenbelt area, which does happen, those are actually removed and replaced with sod. Same with medians and common parks. Those are assessed to the homeowners association, and we work with the homeowners associations on that, as well as the ADA areas within that common area. So the sidewalk approach in the apron, that's looked at as well. And as it says there, it's the duty of every owner of the property to maintain and keep sidewalks and driveway approaches in a condition that's reasonably safe for public travel. So in regards to the notification, we have gone through this. There's public notification and it's necessary. This is all guided by the ordinance. Estimate letters are mailed out to the homeowner containing the information about the quantities and price in March, which this is where we're at this point. The estimate letters include notification of the public hearing, which is what we're doing tonight, and then the homeowner responsibility that the contractor chosen and the construction information, including contact numbers and information that can be viewed on the website. So what happens next is after tonight, the residents or the business owners have 60 days from the date of the public hearing to perform one of the following. One, they can either replace it themselves, or two, they can do nothing and Canton will repair the sidewalk and invoice the resident for the work performed. So this occurs within the next 60 days, and we will work with the homeowners on that. And then all work must be done prior to Memorial Day. So as I said, this slide, we did talk about this slide about a month ago. So we'll jump to the second paragraph here, but zone 6 will begin June 1st. And when we start our construction, if it's left up to the township to make the corrections, we will begin that around June 1st. And the miscellaneous areas may start sometime in May with an anticipated completion by the end of July. And then I just made a note here because we knew that this date was coming when I gave this presentation back in February or January. So, the sidewalk program effectively corrects sidewalk defects. They occur due to age, deterioration, cracking, disintegration root lifting and construction work activities. We really do have to get these repaired before the defects actually create a larger trip hazard. We need safe pedestrian travel for the residents, and we want to keep the community standards up. And also, we have an obligation, because once the township is made aware of a defect in the sidewalk, we have an obligation to make sure that that defect is corrected. And we have an ordinance that's in place that allows for this to do this. And I know Clerk Segrest had mentioned that some residents question whether this is the homeowner's responsibility, and the maintenance of the sidewalk is in fact the homeowner's responsibility. I know that was pretty quick, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions, or Erica's happy to answer any questions. And if you want me to go back and show some slides, I'll leave this up for a minute if there's any particular questions that have come up.
Okay, thank you. So in the public hearing, we'll continue hearing comments from Clerk Segrest, the written comments, and those that are want to comment by raising their hand. And then we will close the public hearing, and then the board can answer, deliberate then. So we do have, so Clerk Segrest, go ahead. You can.
I have one more and then I'm done.
Okay.
All right. Greetings, Michael. Please forward this email to the Board of Trustees under public comment. Thank you. Canton Board of Trustees, my husband and I, Lawrence and Mary Leiner and then they give their address, Doncaster Drive, Canton, Michigan, 48188, in Huntington Place 2, subdivision off of Beck and Newton Roads, would like to express our thoughts on sidewalk repair, at least in our neighborhood. First of all, this pandemic has affected many families in our township and in our subdivision. We have worked together as neighbors to help those less fortunate in our neighborhood with unexpected acts of kindness. It has saved many families. Even the township has only completed half of the road repavement project in our sub due to COVID, when you have had our money for close to 2 years now. Many homeowners are barely hanging on, with one loss of income and parents having to educate their children. This is not the right time. This project needs to be suspended for 1 year so that people can get back on their feet. Also, it might be great that if the government gave you more money, you could do a money match or a discount. Secondly, as former park operations manager for the Detroit Tigers, I can tell you that the way the sidewalks were marked was a complete joke. In all the local subs, we have talked about and seen markings for nothing and other dangerous walks not marked, not to mention some of the marks that have faded. This is not a job for an hourly worker, but someone from the township who understands legal ramifications. Our suggestions is to wait until next summer. In the spring, have the marker optionally meet with the homeowners. We will be marking in your neighborhood on this date, so homeowners have buy-in. This method would be met with more efficiency and community support. Please consider our recommendation. Warm regards, Larry and Mary Leonard.
Thank you. We have some attendees. If you want to make a comment, please raise your hand. If you're on a phone, you can hit *6. Our first one here will be Nazima. So Nazima, if you'd like to speak, you can unmute and speak.
Yeah, basically, thank you for giving me a chance. The measurements that are given in the letter are not very comprehensible. I don't understand how they arrived at this measurement. It will be good if homeowners are also taken into account. When the person comes to take the measurement, they should notify us and we will also be present so that we can understand this measurement. They have given almost over 400 square feet. So I don't know how they have arrived at this figure.
Okay, thank you. Is that your comment, Mr. Nazima?
Yeah, actually, Nazima is my wife. We are both sitting together. My name is Sajid.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next comment by Daniel Daniels.
Hi there. I'm here with my father. So I rent at Southampton, where the slabs were identified to be corrected and fixed. And so my father, Dennis Orlowitz, is with me. He's actually the homeowner. We just had some questions about the American Disabilities Act and the parts of the sidewalk that need to be fixed under our cost. There's 17 slabs right now that were identified because of ADA regulations. And we were confused on that, knowing that that's kind of we would think more of a state and federal type cost with, taxpayer money and things like that. We also had 5 slabs in the front of the house that need to be fixed due to the tree roots and the tree, which we're willing to obviously manage and take care of the front sidewalk of the home. But I guess we're confused on the 17 slabs because we jumped from like a $1,200 expense to like a $4,300 expense in the next, 3 to 6 months, which is pretty high. Dad, do you want to say something?
Well, I understand that the responsibility in front of my house is my responsibility, but because we're a corner house, okay, you have 17 slabs going alongside my home, okay? I feel that should be responsibility of the city of Canton, not me. You identified red dots by the approach they're going to the sidewalk, going through the street, which
Because of ADA.
because of ADA, so I think you should continue that on all the way along the side there. I'm totally responsible I will cut the tree down. It's causing a root problem with the sidewalk. And I plan on paying for the concrete in front, but I don't think I have any responsibility for the side of my house. You're penalizing a corner lot. Everybody who lives in a subdivision has a front that they're responsible for, but taking it around the whole house, I think that's not my responsibility. I think that's the city's responsibility to handle and first of all, the 17 slabs we're talking about a 2% slope
issue.
that is like so minute. I agree there's maybe 2 pieces of concrete there that should be replaced, but the rest of it is fine. There's no cracks, there's no, there's two sections that have a crack and they're sloped down. They probably cause water up, maybe a ½ inch of water there, accumulation, but those can be repaired, taken out. But not all 17 slabs of concrete because of a 2% grade error.
Okay,
You're talking about real minuscule situation where I don't think it's a problem,
all right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Daniels. So we're going to take the rest of the comments and then we'll close the hearing and give some comments back, but thank you very much. Next, we have Youssef El-Smodouni. I will promote to, hello, Youssef, you're on.
Hey, thank you guys for taking my comments here. So I purchased this property in October. I just recently moved in. At the time, the slabs were already marked. And similar to that, I live on a corner house. So it's literally every single block, every single slab on my house is marked green. So I just don't know what the situation is with this. Like, would the prior homeowner be responsible for anything? Am I responsible for everything? Because a lot of these cracks that are marked, there's nothing wrong with the sidewalks. So I just maybe put a little bit more thought into the marking of it, and to drop a $4,300 bill on somebody after they just purchased the properties, it's kind of crazy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Youssef. Thank you for your comment. Please stay on. You can hear some, let me go to the next person. Next, we have Michelle Lafleur. Hello, Michelle.
Hello.
Lafleur.
Yes, good evening. I also live on a corner lot, and I also have 17 slabs that need to be replaced, which is quite a lot of money. I also wanted to point out that there is some disabled or sections that would be the city's responsibility that are damaged, and those are not marked with red. Is that going to be reevaluated, or are they not going to be fixed? And also, being on a corner lot, as you're hearing, there are a lot of us. Canton loves to have tree-lined streets, but I know my trees are going to be cut down I'm not going to go through this every few years. We live in Michigan, freezing, the ground shifting. We live on clay. The trees will pop up the sidewalks. I won't go through this again. I will opt to cut the trees down. And I think that needs to be looked at if we want to have a beautiful community with tree-lined streets. Maybe being that we do pay a large amount of taxes on our properties, maybe that needs to be built in when it is a tree that's lifting and damaging the sidewalks. Maybe there could be some reimbursement to the homeowner. If you want us to water the tree, maintain the tree, have the tree sprayed at our expense, could you help out the homeowners a little bit with regard to that? As well as sometimes when the sidewalks, the sections have been marked, instead of having the sidewalk removed, why can't you come in with another option instead of having it removed and replaced? What about leveling it out? Having the company come in that can pump something underneath the level the sidewalk out at a far less cost. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And our next person is Kanye Gardner. Hello, Kanye, you're on, if you'd like to speak.
Hey, yep, good evening. My only question is, when will the payments be due for this? I know a gentleman commented earlier regarding, a lot of people in our community is struggling. And I'm just curious, when will the payment be due for this if we decide to go with the city?
Okay, all right, thank you. The next person is listed as RNR. RNR.
Hi, yes, my name is Ruben. I'm here with my wife, Mary, as well. And I think, first of all, I'd like to echo the comments from that was read, the first two. I understand that some of the sidewalks actually really need repair, but I also live in a corner lot and I have 27 marked up, and that's going to be a pretty hefty cost to us as well, especially in this precarious situation. And then, so my wife had another question as well.
So about 10 years or so ago, the township and the county and our subdivision had a program where they would do a matching dollar deal, and they came in and they fixed some sidewalks, except the contractor that was officially used by the government used such poor quality of concrete that all the slabs that we had to pay to replace at that time pitted almost instantly, and all those are marked again that we have to replace. Is the contractor that you chose this time using a better mix of concrete that will be more durable?
Okay, thank you. Any more hands, any more comments? And again, if you're on a phone, you can hit *6 to raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any other comments. Okay, any other comments? Any other comments? Don't see any. All right, thank you. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board, actually, move that to close the public hearing after hearing the comments on the necessity of sidewalk repairs to the Township Sidewalk Ordinance, Sidewalk Repair Program Policy, and as provided in Public Act 80 of the Public Acts of 1989.
Support.
Can you please call a roll on the motion?
Bornanski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
All right, thank you. So this is the time when the board has any comments or questions or replies. Just Jade, if you want to just give
Can we make a
information.
motion
Oh, can I have a motion for the board?
and then debate or discuss? Madam Supervisor, I move to adopt the attached resolution requiring replacement of sidewalks in Hidden River Estates, Huntington Place #1, Huntington Place #2, Kimberly Meadows, Meadow Villages of Canton #1, Villages of Canton #2, Northwoods Place, Pinewood #1, Pinewood #2, and miscellaneous locations as indicated on the attached list and published in the Canton Eagle on March 4, 2021.
Support.
Clerk Segris, can you please call roll on the motion?
And we,
Comments?
Yes, okay, you're right. I'm sorry. Comments are, I need to,
I'm not prepared to vote.
what a day. Vote again. Jay, do you want to just give some information on how people can get in touch with you to get a lot of these
Yeah.
questions?
Yes, so because we're doing this via Zoom, at this point, we usually would take anyone that has a concern into the hallway and then have some discussions like immediately. So I'm going to encourage everybody that was on the call tonight or anybody that's actually watching this at home that has some more concerns to please call the engineering office tomorrow at 734-394-5150. And again, that's 394-5150. And talk to the engineers. And if with each of these circumstances, they're all different. So there's not one answer that's going to probably make everybody happy. So we are more than happy to come out and revisit the properties and take a look at the situations that you're in. So I encourage everybody to call engineering that's on the call today. And I will follow up with the engineering department as well. And I know Erica's on the call, so she may have some more comments as well. I do want to talk about the payment options because that was brought up a few times. If they do the work themselves, obviously the payment would be due when they contract their contractor to get it done and they pull the correct permits through the township. If they choose to let the township do it, there's a couple different ways that this can happen. They will be billed for the work that is done, and they can pay that bill up front, or that bill can be paid over 5 years. And I see Director Trumbull is on now too, if she wants to speak to that. But that is something that there is a 5-year window as to where they can pay that back. So I'll see if she has something to say. And then Erica, I don't know if you want to jump in with some of the other concerns or questions.
Sure, I'll jump in real quick. So when you get the bill, I think it actually states right on there in the invoice when it comes, if you do not pay it by the certain date that's marked on there, that it will roll over. And it will actually be billed over a 5-year period when you receive your tax bill. So it would be on the same bill as your taxes over the next 5 years, paid evenly over that point in time. So that should help those people, from having to pay a big lump sum in 1 year if they do need some additional time to make that payment.
Can I add a couple things as well? It is on your winter tax, not your summer, that we put it on. And often residents will come in during the year and make payments. They may not pay it all off, but they will make some payments towards it. So, if it does roll over to the taxes, it may not be as much, but we get a lot of residents coming in monthly or quarterly to make payments on that as well.
Thank you. Erica, did you want to say something? I couldn't tell if you were coming in.
Yes, if you can hear me. We had a few comments on there in regards to some of the concerns that they had. And like Jade mentioned, they can contact our office and I'd be happy to meet with them or schedule a visit where we can personally discuss each of their sites because they are different in some aspects. But some of the comments about the American Disability Act and the slope of the sidewalk. A lot of the stuff that we look at with the slope of the sidewalk, we have to look at the pitch of the sidewalk, and that's mentioned in our ordinance, the back pitch or switch, as Jade showed on the slide. We put sidewalk back in, all sidewalk has to be replaced, placed back, meeting the American Disability Act. So we are going to look at the slope of the sidewalk and make sure that it conforms to that standard. In regards to another resident that mentioned pumping up the sidewalk or leveling it. As you know, you have the 60 days to do any form of repair you want. Pumping it up or mudjacking, there is a provision for that in the ordinance that allows the homeowner to do that. We, the township, don't offer that service, but homeowners are more than welcome to entertain that idea and have somebody look at the slabs that we marked and have them leveled. The only thing that we ask is that they contact our office, the engineering office, to say, hey, we had these leveled, so that we can remove them from the program and the contractor doesn't remove something that they already had repaired. but they need to let us know that they had it leveled. Sometimes some of those leveling companies that do that work don't always meet the ADA standard, and sometimes they have to come back and fix it. And we want to work and coordinate that out with the homeowner. Other than that, I'm trying to think if there was anything else that was brought up. Oh, somebody also mentioned about the mix of the concrete. All the mixed standards have been following the Wayne County guidelines for mixed designs. We do recognize that some of these areas do get a little bit of pitting through the winter, because whether you salt your driveway or not, inadvertently, you are salting your driveway through the undercarriage of your car that goes up on the drive when you pull in and out of your driveway. What we have the contractor do, and they will see, is that we spray a curing compound over the sidewalk or any concrete that we do. It acts as a sealer to help prevent that from happening. And all the concrete that we do is warranted for 1 year, which Jade also mentioned, that we go back and look at these things after the winter and into the spring before we start a new program to make sure we don't have any adversely or badly affected sidewalk that might have occurred over the winter. I think that pretty much is the comments I have to offer, if that helps anybody that's still listening. And again, like Jade said, give us a call tomorrow morning. I will be in my office. If they want to reach me directly, my number is 394-5158. Thank you.
Thank you. Any board members? Make any comments? Kate?
Yes, I have a question. For those residents who may be paying over time, that 5-year window, are we charging any fees or interest for that?
We do.
We do, and I'm not sure if Director Trumbull is still there or not. I don't know what that administrative, 3%?
6.
I'm sorry, 6%.
It's 6% interest over a 5-year period.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Slavens.
Michael?
I had a question. One of the public comments, or one of the statements during the hearing, was that there was some work in one of those subdivisions that was a joint project between apparently the county, the township, and the subdivision. Does anyone, I don't know, Erica, I don't know if you're familiar with that. Jade, I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yeah, I believe they mentioned it was about 10 years ago, and unfortunately, I'm not familiar with that program.
I do see Bill Surchek has raised his hand. I don't.
Yeah, I've been with the township for 20 years and we've never had a match with the sidewalk repair program. So I'm not sure where they're coming up with that, but we've never had a match. We've always, since the ordinance has been implemented, we follow the guidelines very closely with marking things in red versus green based on utilities the township owns, and also repairing some of those sidewalk ramps, making them more accessible where the sidewalks connect.
Okay, Bill Surchek, one of our township engineers, you had your hand up also.
Oh, no, just the same comment. I do not recall any type of matching program that we've had.
Okay, so we're not familiar with that, but we are using, are we planning on using Rotundo for the sidewalk program, I believe?
Yes, they were awarded in January, I believe.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and we've been satisfied with their product.
Yes.
Just went through and did my neighborhood. Unfortunately, to everybody on right now, myself and the supervisor got dinged a couple of years ago when we went through our cycle. My next question was, did we? Last March, didn't we hold off on doing the sidewalk repair program because we did not?
No, we moved forward with the sidewalk program. What we did is we modified it a little bit because we were doing water main replacement in part of the sub in Glengarry. So we pushed part of that off to this year. And then because of COVID, there was a delay in the start because when the state got shut down was prime time when we were going to start the construction. So it was just a matter of time that it got pushed back. So but yeah, no, we didn't delay or purposely delay anything last year.
Okay,
I-
okay.
I would like to add one thing to what we did last year that was unique because of the COVID virus and the pandemic and having homeowners that might have had loss of income and whatnot. We did offer the option based on the previous supervisor, an option to defer the work for 1 year. So I'm, just throwing that out there that was something that was offered to the homeowners. I think most homeowners went ahead and had us proceed with it. We only had maybe a dozen homeowners that chose to defer it for another year.
Okay, so there was an option for a homeowner to defer for a year.
Just because of the
pandemic.
delayed start and the financial reasons.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so I apologize. I mean, I knew about that. I just meant operationally, we really didn't. We left that up to the homeowner, yes.
Okay. And then my next one is about liability. So once an issue is acknowledged, either through a complaint from a resident, let's say, I have a child who rides a bike and there's an issue with our sidewalk and we notify the township, there's an issue. And once the township is made aware of that issue, or Erica, once you go out and mark the sidewalks, my assumption is that there's some transfer of liability there, right? We have knowledge of a non-functioning sidewalk, and so there could potentially be an issue, right? If somebody were to fall on that sidewalk, we would have a very hard time, and I imagine the homeowner would also have a very hard time defending against a civil litigation. Is that
correct?
Okay?
That is correct.
Yes, that is correct.
That's my only.
And that was really how my understanding is how this started back in 1997 was due to a lawsuit that Canton Township was involved in, which really kind of set the course for all sidewalk programs within the state for all municipalities. But yes, once we have knowledge of a defect, it is now, we have an obligation to fix that.
Okay.
Or to make sure that it's addressed.
And my final question, if I may, is those street trees, how many of those have been planted by the township? Or is this my understanding that cities tend to plant street trees in right of way? However, the township did not plant those trees. Those trees were planted by the home developers, is that a fair assumption?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So those aren't city, well, because Canton's not a city, but those aren't municipal trees. They're not maintained by the municipal.
No, because we're a township in Wayne County through the development process. When those parcels of land were developed and the homes were constructed, Wayne County, in partnership with the township planner, to reestablish the trees that were removed in the development, required developers to place one street tree based on their linear frontage. Some of them have more than one tree. It has to be placed. But again, the responsibility and based on the ordinance, the way it's written, the township does not maintain the trees. It's up to the homeowner to do that because the county has not done any tree trimming or any cost in relation to sidewalk that's been damaged because of a tree.
Thank you. I really appreciate all of that helpful information.
Any other board member? Tanya?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions that their Director Trumbull or our Treasurer Slavens can answer. So, for this year's maintenance work, it'll be charged for the winter taxes for the next year, right? Like the fees. Now, if they don't pay it, it's a 6%. Like, who has decided on that 6%? And like, can that fee be changed? I'm just wondering because of the extenuating circumstances this year. I'm just wondering if that's a possibility or is that set up by some sort of an ordinance?
I had asked my deputy, he said we can charge up to 9% and they charge 6%. I don't know, Wendy, you've been here a little longer than I have, but I don't know if you have any. I mean, certainly people can always, go to the bank and get a loan themselves, but the townships had 6%.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not sure when that percentage was established. It was before my time. And to be honest, I'm not sure if it's in the ordinance or not. I don't believe it is, but we can certainly look into that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, and like we said, I did, just to let everybody know, I did have a meeting yesterday with an HOA where they talked about their sidewalks. And as we know, during COVID, you have a lot more residents walking. We had a lot, you see more people walking outside, and whether it be during the day or dusk or night, and they had a concern about, people tripping because of, any sidewalk gaps. So that is the importance of it. In addition to the, the lawsuit that we had, there are more people out walking, and so tripping hazards are there, and that's why it's important to keep the sidewalks under repair. And we also offer time to, pay it off in installments, and we can take it case by case. And Erica's really great about coming out to your house too. And she really is. She really listens to you and can help you out for all of those who have called in. Do we have anyone else? Okay, can I hear a motion? Motion number 3, I believe it is on this one.
So it's been moved and seconded. We are currently in debate. So now if you want to call for a roll call vote, that would be appropriate.
Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. And again, call Erica. And you do have the phone numbers. Thank you. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate it very much. So the next item, since we did pull that up on the agenda, we do have the next item on the agenda still going back to the closed session, which we did not finish because we wanted to pull up this hearing. So can I have a motion to go to closed session? Unless because we didn't move that on the agenda. We left that in the same place when we adopted it.
So you want to go into closed session?
Well, that was the next item on the agenda. We did not move that. We pulled the public hearing up and we adopted the agenda that way, which would mean that the closed session is the next item.
And we already went into closed session, right? Which was prior to the agenda. If you want to go into closed session, you can call for a motion.
Okay, can I have a motion to continue closed session?
To go
back into closed session.
Okay, Madam Supervisor, I move that the board return to closed session.
Support.
Thank you. Can I please have a roll call on the motion?
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Okay, so we will be back right after this. It shouldn't take very long, and then we can continue with the agenda. Thank you. Can I have a motion to close closed session, please?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board go from closed to open session.
Support.
Thank you. Clerk Seegers, can we please have a roll call on the motion?
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly.
Right here.
Oh. Well, Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman,
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Can I also have a motion to readopt the agenda?
To amend the agenda?
To amend the agenda and add item D0.
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board amend the previously approved agenda, adding item G0, which is the, I can't find the title of it.
It's want me to read it?
The title is consider approval of the collective bargaining agreement between Canton Township and Local 2289 of the International Association of Firefighters with a term ending December 31, 2023.
Support.
Clerk Seegers, can we please have a roll call on the motion?
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Seagerstai, Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of February 23rd, 2021.
So moved.
Support.
Clerk Seegers, please have a roll call on the motion.
Ornanski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Pinguli,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Seagerstai, Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. Now we have public comment. Again, for general public comments, I'm looking for the attendees for a hand raised, or if you're on his phone, you can hit *6. Give public comment. I don't see any hands raised. Okay. The next item on the agenda is the payment of bills.
Madam Supervisor, I make a motion that we pay the bills.
I'll second that.
Clerk Seegers, can we please have a roll call on the motion?
Ornanski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Pinguli,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Seagerstai, Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. My motion passes. The next item on the agenda is the presentation. However, Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission new redistricting process, although I do not see the presenter, Rebecca, Commissioner. If anybody wants to raise their hand if they are here to present. Okay, so we don't have our presenter. If they come back on, I will note the call back to that. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing on post-public hearing and consider approval of application for MDNR recreation passport grants.
Shall we do the other item G0 we just added?
Sure, before the hearing, we can do that.
Oh,
We have a second public hearing before we go to the general calendar.
okay, ignore me.
Okay, all right. Can I have a motion to host a second
Oh.
public hearing?
Sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry, my notes are starting to look like Frankenstein's monster over here. We've bounced everywhere we possibly could. And my PDF crashed. Lovely.
Do you want me to read it, Mike?
If you'll allow me 15 seconds, I will get it up. There we go. Madam Supervisor, I move to open the public hearing for comment on the MDNR Recreation Passport Grant application for the revitalization of Victory Park located at 46555 West Michigan Avenue, Canton, Michigan 48188.
Support.
Okay, can I please see, have a motion to open the public hearing? We just did that. Can we hear a roll call on the motion?
Ornanski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguli,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Seagerstai, Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Public hearing is open. Greg, do you have a presentation or would you like to speak to about this
I
item?
don't have a presentation, but I'm happy to speak about it. If you could please elevate Jeanette Aiello to a panelist. She is our business supervisor and coordinates all of our grant applications, so she can speak very specifically about any grant requirements and probably knows the projects inside and out better than anybody else. Just as an overview, there are several upgrades needed to the Canton Sports Center for safety and just age of some of our equipment out there, the playground equipment, the fall surface. So we had planned to budget funds for upgrades to make the necessary repairs out there. But at the same time, there are several items that have been on the master plan for the sports center for a number of years that we've been looking to do. And the idea is that if we can use the township funds for the necessary repair and leverage those dollars for matching dollars through the Michigan DNR, we can then basically get 2 for 1 for our dollars. We're asking and Jeanette, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, $150,000 from the DNR and $140,000 from the township. So very close to a 50-50 match here. And obviously, one of the goals is just to upgrade the equipment, make it safe and usable for everybody, but to also try and make this a more environmentally friendly as well as community use park, instead of its traditional usage down at the sports center as a kind of a pay for play option. The park doesn't get a whole lot of use during the day when there aren't games there. So if we make it a nicer area for families to go play, then we can encourage more drop-in use there on the off times, and then also make it a more desirable location for when we do have teams there for either adult leagues, families, kids have more activities to do, and then the youth leagues, obviously, when they're not playing, would have more activities. So it includes upgrades to our current play structures, sand volleyball courts, some environmental bioswales for
Stormwater runoff.
Thank you, Jeanette. And a practice area for hitting as well. And with that, Jeanette, feel free to add anything that I missed. And then with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
So this year and next year, I believe there's money that's being invested through the CIP to improve some of those things that are not ADA accessible or need improvement just because of the age of the space. In addition to just replacing the fall surfacing, we felt that it would benefit the park itself if we put some more ADA accessible play panels, things that any individual could go up to and use, as well as putting some picnicking areas. Like Greg had said, there's going to be some environmental factors by doing the bioswales with any extra stormwater runoff, whether it be from the parking lots or from the fields. And then the sand volleyball courts. This past year has proven that people want to be outdoors more than ever. And we have leagues and we don't have enough courts to have leagues. We have parks, and just drop in play at any point during the day this past year has proven that people want to have the ability to drop in and play sand volleyball with some friends or neighbors. And while yes, it's not near a lot of Canton subdivisions, there's not a lot of park space besides the trail down on the southern part of Canton. So we really think that there's a lot of benefit to enhancing the public space there. And even by adding a picnicking area and some sand volleyball courts, that might provide some workers, if they take a break from lunch, if they work in the corridor of Michigan Avenue, if they want to go to a nice park space and have lunch, they have picnic tables and sand volleyball courts, and they could, you know, take a break and have some respite in that space as well. So yes, it does benefit those families that come and cheer on mom and dad at their leagues at night, or their brothers and sisters at tournaments on the weekends. But we really think that there's a lot of benefit to giving our residents something to access in the southern part of Canton. So this grant we would apply for. It's due April 1st, and we would find out in the early part of fall whether or not we scored high enough to be recommended for the grant. And the earliest that we would be able to spend the money would be the end of this year or early part of next year. So it's really a 2022 project, but we do have, in the 21 budget, we do have 140,000 allocated, and tentatively in 2022, if that gets adopted, it's listed in there as well.
Thank you, and I apologize, I didn't read the executive summary, and you guys have said most of it. And then so I'll just read this quickly, then we'll go to the public. But so Canton Leisure Services is seeking approval to apply for a Michigan Department of Natural Resources Recreation Passport Grant that would be implemented in 2021-22. So the public hearing and formal board approval to apply for the grant are required components. That's why we're having this hearing. And so it's the application revitalization of Victory Park as a capital project to improve accessibility, environmental sustainability, and community usage of Canton's most southern park site, I'm sorry. So since a public hearing, we'll go to the public first, and I'm looking for hands to be raised if anyone has any questions based on what you've heard. Again, if you're on a cell phone, hit *6. Otherwise, you can raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any hands. Okay, great. All right, thank you. So can I hear a motion to close the public hearing?
Madam Supervisor, I move to close the public hearing.
For
Somebody support it?
That was Tanya.
Okay,
Time to support, okay. Thank you. Clerk Segers, can you please call roll call on the motion?
Orninsky,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
aye.
Graham Hudak,
Aye.
Seegers, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Can I hear the next motion on the agenda item?
Madam Supervisor, I move to authorize the submission of the application to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for a recreation passport grant towards the revitalization of Victory Park, and to accept the funds if approved, and to approve the following this resolution in support of the Michigan Natural Resources Recreation Passport Grant.
Support.
Okay, do I have any, are there any questions?
I have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Jen, is there any opportunity, or Greg, is there any opportunity to have any like native plants out there that are good for pollinators, like bees and butterflies maybe? I don't know, it might not be a part of the grant, but would that be something that could work at that location?
Yes. In the bioswale, we certainly can do that in that area.
So if you'd like, I can show you a picture of what they had in mind for the project.
Like right now, or? Oh.
Yeah. Jeanette comes prepared.
So the way the grant project works is we work with an engineer to get the proposal for the grant, and they put their specs in it. And then if we get awarded the grant, then we still have to go out for bid based on what we put as in the scope. And the company that we work with has done several projects in the Metro Detroit area that are all related to increasing the wildflower population and really bringing in that native plants. One of the reasons why we work with this is when we had originally selected this engineer to do some of our park designs, was they utilized a lot of native plants in their design. So in their bioswale, they have listed some native vegetation, including a butterfly habitat. This is just a preliminary design that would be flushed out further later on. But we know that there's a lot of stormwater from parking lots, as well as sometimes when we're draining those fields, because we need to have a certain amount of moisture in the fields, there's going to be runoff from that as well. And so we want to do it here at Victory Park, but this will probably be a thing that you'll see more in a lot of our park designs moving forward, just so that we can have better use of the stormwater that we have in those spaces.
And I would say unrelated to this grant, but just as a point of interest for you, Clerk Segrist, is we have a Eagle Scout proposing a project at our next Leisure Services Advisory Council meeting to do a butterfly garden project at, they haven't selected a location yet, but that's going to be their proposed project for Canton.
Great.
Lovely.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Saw a couple hands. Tanya.
Yeah, I have a question. It's just a mere some technical question. So this was part of the like the improvement project that Leisure Services had. Like, is this part of the plan that you had formed for the last 5 years plan that you did, or is this something?
Yes. Yeah, this has to be, in order for any project to qualify for a DNR grant, it has to be listed in our master plan. So this was part of our past master plan as capital improvements at that park. So it's been something that we've been working towards this application for a number of years. It's to apply for a DNR grant. It's a lengthy process to get prepared, submit your application, and then accept the funds. It's a multi-year process.
Yeah, I also, can we have a copy of the document that Jeanette was sharing? Because it looked very interesting and like, sometimes residents have some questions, especially a lot of interest in the sand volleyball courts and things like that. And like, I can share it.
Absolutely, we can share that with the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Great, thank you. So Clerk Segris, can we please have a roll call on the motion?
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguli,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is to go into the general calendar, item G0, which we just added. Item G0, consider approval of collective bargaining agreement between Canton Township and the local 2289 of the International Association of Firefighters with a term ending December 31st, 2023.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the Charter Township of Canton and the International Association of Firefighters for a term commencing January 1, 2020 through December 31, 2023, and authorize the Township Supervisor and Clerk to sign the contract.
I support.
Thank you. The current collective bargaining agreement with Local 2289 of the International Association of Firefighters, IFF, was expired on December 31st, 2019. In August of 2019, the Township's negotiating team, consisting of the Human Resources Manager, Finance Director, Deputy Fire Chief, and Labor Counsel, Brandon Fournier, began meeting with representatives of the IAFF to negotiate a new CBA. The parties have reached a tentative agreement on terms of a new 4-year contract expiring on December 31st, 2023, and the IAFF membership has ratified the tentative agreement. Corinne, would you like to add to that at all?
I think you covered it. I think it was a win for both parties, and we have a really great contract and some great provisions to support the operations the operations and the services that we're delivering to the community, and definitely some great benefits for the employees.
Thank you. Chris, would you like to add anything?
Just like to say that I appreciate both sides working together to come to this agreement. I know it's long overdue, and look forward to continue working with the union.
Thank you. Wendy, would you like to say anything?
Just echo what both Karen and Chris said. I want to thank the union and the board for the support, and that I think, we came to a pretty good agreement at the end where we're all pretty happy with the results. So thanks to everybody involved.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments? No? I'd just like to say congratulations to both sides. This has been a long time in coming, so good job. Okay, can I please have a roll call on the motion?
Borninski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye. Aye.
Yep. I'm sorry, I was blanking. Ganguli.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Great, motion passes. Congratulations. Next item on the calendar is G1. Consider approval of professional services agreements for community planning services and landscape architecture services.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve professional services agreements with McKenna and Carlisle Wortman for a period not to exceed 5 years, subject to approval of the contracts by the township attorney.
Support.
Thank you. The Planning Services Division recently issued a request for proposal for consulting firms to provide specialized planning and landscape architecture services on an as-needed basis with a due date of November 19, 2020. The RFP stated that more than one contract may be awarded. The Planning Services Division received 5 qualified bids for community planning services and 6 qualified bids for landscape architecture services. Proposal review team from the Municipal Services Department and Finance and Budget Department reviewed the proposals, interviewed each firm, and scored the proposals. Scoring was based on each firm's qualifications, responsiveness, experience, capacity, fees and rates, personnel, qualifications, and references. The firm with the highest score for community planning services was McKenna, and the firm with the highest score for landscape architecture services was Carlisle Wortman. The services will be provided under a professional services agreement prepared by the township attorney and negotiated with the consultant. We recommend a term of 5 years. Director Smith, would you like to add anything?
That pretty much covers it. I know we had a study session in regards to this a few weeks ago as well about the change in how we were going to operate the planning services department. And I guess I'm just here to answer any questions. I do know we have representatives from both of the firms that are on the call tonight, in addition to Patrick Sloan. But I do think this is going to be a great change for the planning department in regards to how we can service the residents and also prepare ourselves as Canton continues in this growth era that we're in and prepare to be built out. I have experience with both of these firms in the past, and I know that the township does as well. So I'm really looking forward to bringing them on board and moving forward.
Thank you. We did have a small presentation on this at our last meeting. Does anyone have any other questions or comments? Tanya?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, but I looked at the firms and they seem to be very, they have worked with a lot of townships and cities, so I am excited to see them. We have a varied source of resources. My question, like when we discussed this at the study session or a board meeting in the past, Jade, you talked about you know, this would basically bring in, you know, if there was a different, when you're scoring, where you're looking into firms that had options to, you know, have conversations in different languages. You said, you know, you were considering that. And also you said the cost would be less than actually having a planner. So was that also taken into consideration? Because there is like, there are rates and everything given there, but there's actually not how much cost that we are expecting to incur because of hiring this firm. So I'm not aware of what is the financial implication.
Sure. So I'll take the second question first. In regards to the budget, what we did is we're allocating the dollars for this contract to come out of the existing dollars that we already had budgeted for the existing planner position. We did do some analysis, and we're going to be using those dollars to fund this contract. However, we do feel that we'll probably save between $20,000 and $30,000 a year when you compare the two. It really, the first year is we're going to be limited to that dollar amount in the first year, but we're really looking to see how this plays out in the first year. And then we'll actually have some specific line items that will be proposed in our budgets moving forward. So as we prepared our 2022 budget and we presented it last week to the board, when we come forward with a formal a request at the end of the year, I believe that's in November, we will actually have a firm dollar amount because we'll have about 6 months under our belt to realize how much we're utilizing them in the different areas. And each year will be a little bit different depending on what the market is and how many subdivisions are closing out, where we need landscape architecture services. I would see that as the biggest variable. But however, the next item on your agenda tonight is actually to approve a change in our fee schedule in regards to landscape architecture. So that'll actually be a cost neutral where the landscape architecture is involved. So I don't know that I actually have a hard number that I can tell you that we're going to save, but we will save dollars on going this direction. And in regards to the representatives and being able to communicate more with our community, if you're interested, we do have a representative on she was there. I know Sarah Traxler is on the phone, but I don't know if Vitya.
I see her. Do you want me to promote her?
Sure. Actually, our rep that was going to be in.
She has her
Yeah,
hand
Sarah's got her hand raised. So if you want to let Sarah in, she's going to be the one actually within the planning department that's going to be helping us work with the residents. And our representative was on here, and I don't know where she went, but Sarah can talk to that.
Okay. Oops, sorry.
There's Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Oh, hi. You can hear me, I think. It indicated I was unmuted. Great. So Vidya Krishnan from McKenna will be one of the people performing office hours. I'm so sorry. She did have to jump off the meeting, of course, just about 10 minutes ago. So I'm really sorry about that. I know that she speaks the second language. I don't want to misrepresent what it is. So I will follow up with Jade and Patrick on what that is. The other person that we proposed to support the township during office hours is Mario Ortega, and he is nearly fluent in Spanish. So I believe that there are 2 languages that your people performing office hours speak comfortably, Vidya fluently, and Mario also close to fluent in Spanish.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, great. Oh, Kate?
Sorry. I did have a question, and I think we did touch on this already, Jade, but just wanted to make sure of this, and that you had mentioned, I thought you said 5-year contracts. And so just wanted to make sure that if the township, and I'm hoping this doesn't happen, but if the township were dissatisfied with the services, that we would have an out.
Yes, so the professional services agreement that we have attached in the agenda for this evening was actually developed a few years ago for our engineering services specifically, and worked through the township's attorney. And there is a 30-day out clause. So with the 30 days notice, we can get out of either of these contracts within that 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, great. Clerk Segris, can you please take roll call on the motion?
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens,
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item G2, amend planning services fee schedule for landscape plan review and inspections.
Supervisor, I move to approve revisions to the planning services fee schedule, deposits, and fees associated with landscape plan review and inspections effective March 10, 2021.
Support.
Thank you. The Planning Services Division recently issued a request for proposal for consulting firms to provide specialized landscape architecture services on an as-needed basis, which include landscape plan review, site inspection, design and consulting, including assistance with the tree program. A request to approve a professional services agreement with the firm is in a separate request for board action. For landscape plan review and site inspection services related to specific planning services applications, amendments to the planning services fee schedule are proposed to require landscape deposits to offset the cost of the consulting firm to provide landscape plan review and site inspection services for the related application. The expenses related to providing the landscape plan review and site inspection services will be deducted from the deposit, and any remaining deposited funds will be returned to the applicant upon completion of the project. Jay, do you want to add to that?
Sure. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. However, in the past, we had a fixed fee for these services. And as a supervisor can attest to, we ran into some issues when we have some of these associations that are closing out. So there's multiple reasons why there's a benefit to the township to actually collect a deposit up front, and then we can reduce these fees off at the back end. That way, there's some more accountability on the developers and the associations to make sure that they're abiding by the site plan. And we feel that this is a good change. It's not, and again, it's going to be a pass-through because as we will only deduct out of the deposit what we're being charged from the landscape architecture services contract.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, great. Thank you. Clerk Segris, can you please take a roll call on the motion?
Borninski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item G3, consider approval of site plan for Pure Development Delivery Station.
And Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the following resolution: approval of the site plan for Pure Development Delivery Station. Whereas project sponsor has requested site plan approval for a warehousing and material distribution center on the north side of Michigan Avenue between Denton Road and Beck Road. And whereas the Planning Commission reviewed the request and applicable site plan review criteria and voted 9-0 to recommend approval, subject to conditions and plan revisions, which will be required prior to pre-construction meeting. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Canton, Michigan has hereby approved the site plan for a warehousing material distribution center use on the tax parcels listed, subject to the previous adopted conditions of special land use approval and the following conditions: ZBA approval of the proposed variances to the drain setbacks and wetland setbacks, MDOT review and approval of the proposed plans, including any improvements required by MDOT, compliance with requirements of the township engineer and fire marshal, and plan corrections and revisions for the proposed lighting, landscaping, tree replacement, dumpster, enclosure, and fencing as specified by the Planning Commission.
Support.
Thank you. The project sponsor proposes to construct a 183,130 square foot warehouse and material distribution center on 7 contiguous parcels located on the north side of Michigan Avenue between Denton Road and Beck Road. The subject site is zoned LIR, Light Industrial Research, which allows warehousing and a material distribution centers via special land use. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the special land use on February 1st, 2021, and the Township Board approved the special land use on February 23rd, 2021. Previously, the Township Board rezoned 6 of the subject parcels, LIR, from R3 to R1 and RR at the request of the applicant. However, for one of these parcels, as listed, only the east 896 feet was rezoned LIR, and the remaining western part of the parcel adjacent to Denton Road remains as R1. At its meeting on March 1st, 2021, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the site plan subject to conditions. So Jay, do you have anything to add?
I do not have anything to add, and if there was anybody that wanted to see the zoning map or any sort of renderings, I do have those that I can show.
Thanks. Summer, did you want to have anything to add as our representative to the commission?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you. Anybody want to add any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Stephen?
Thank you. So really excited to have another organization coming here to add more jobs to our community. I think that's great. And it looks like they've done a great job on the traffic study. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? And also with the environmentals around the facility, the trees and retention ponds and things like that. The only thing I'll say is the only concern I have, but won't stop me for voting for moving it forward, is that the appearance of the building is drastically different than any that we've had down in that area. So there's a couple of other facilities of the same size just to the east of it. And then on the other side of Beck Road, you have the Target Plaza and Kohl's. And all of those are kind of the same in color. The Target Plaza actually looks like it's utilizing the full brick 50% or 75% requirements that we have on those facilities. The others two, in talking to Patrick and actually driving by there and looking at it, are concrete as well facilities, but they sort of look like brick. So from the distance, they look like they could be meeting our exterior requirements. I understand they did get variances for those because they are concrete buildings, just like this one. This one, though, doesn't appear to be looking like brick. I mean, it's a nice looking building. I'm not saying it's nice. It's just we're kind of changing from that exterior that we've traditionally had down there. Same with maybe the Singh buildings further to the east. So It's the only thing that struck me was that it's a lot different. And so, and this is sort of an entrance to our community. I'm not saying it'll look bad for our community, but it's a change from how we were presenting the community in the past. So just my thoughts.
Thank you. Any other comments? Tanya?
I don't know if any representative is from the organization.
Is that Richard Ratner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
And,
I just
Patrick's
had
on the phone as well.
Okay. I just had a quick, comment or question. Is just Stephen brought up something about, it's a business that is going to employ people. I know we don't have any requirement from the board of employing locally, but are there any thoughts from Mr. Ratner about if he would work on employing more in the Canton community? Just what his thoughts are on that. I know we don't have any requirements that you have to employ from Canton, but since this is a big business coming up in Canton and it's being employed, it's going to employ a considerable amount of people. Just had a quick question on that.
Mr. Ratner, do you want to comment on that?
I'm not authorized to talk about their hiring practices, but there are a lot of people that will be hired at this facility, and I'm certain that the jobs will benefit the city, the township, because it is a big project, and it's one that will require manpower and good jobs. As to the comment that was made relative to the building, I wonder if Patrick, on the phone, not phone, on this Zoom call is also Josh Mannion, who is the engineer for the project. And I wanted him to pick up on some of the comments that were made by Mr. Sneidman, because I think there are some views of this building that will show you it's not a flat building. There's a large canopy, as I'm sure Mr. Sneidman is aware, and some of the elevations can help explain how they can handle a building of this size and still make it look attractive. Josh, you want to say something about that? And maybe Patrick, if you could get the elevations up that show the side and the.
Yeah,
and the,
I have those. I will put those up.
Oh, thanks, Jay.
You're welcome.
Josh, you want to punch in?
Yeah, this is Josh Mannion here. As Rick mentioned, I'm the civil engineer working on this. Architect wasn't able to join, but I can speak to the architecture a little bit here. So the ordinance requires the office portions to be 50% masonry, as you all know. And the office portion of this building is really only about 10% of the facade. So having that portion of the building, if it were masonry, it really wouldn't have the intended benefit of breaking up the facade with that look. It's only 10% due to the size of the building. So what we've proposed is, it is concrete panel, as was mentioned. It's a mix of gray, standard gray concrete, light, heavier, darker gray, and blue banding, and then reveals as well at the panels. And you'll see on the right side of this rendering here is the canopy with metal panel, blue metal panel. I'm breaking that up so you have a mix of the shaded area along that front facade, as well as the area above that. We've also added in the windows that you'll see to help break this up as well. And that's somewhat similar, at least the windows to the building next to the east, the repair clinic would have those high bay windows. Realize the colors are different than what are over to the east, but we tried to somewhat mimic the window appearance to that building to the east. and break it up with the different colors and bandings as well. And you also see here we do have 4-foot high berm running across the front of the property with landscape screening as well.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not a nice looking building. It's just different than what we've had in our community along Michigan Avenue, which has been a little more uniform. I think the ordinance that we're giving variance on and have before is that it be 50% masonry and then 75% in the office. I think if I read that right, Patrick, you'll tell me if I have that wrong. And so, but we've waived it in the past, but the others looked more masonry like than this one. So it's gonna be, and maybe that's appropriate because it's sort of at the edge of our community and it'll be something different, which I'm not necessarily against. I was just noting it.
I can speak a little bit to the architecture in section 26.06 of the zoning ordinance. For the office portion of an industrial building, there's a requirement for the 75% brick. And in a different part of that section, there's a maximum percentage of 50% of concrete panel material for an industrial building. So there's the modification for the less than 75% brick, as well as the modification to go over 50% on the concrete panels. And specifically, I think the proposed percentage of the building that's concrete panel is 80%, with the remaining walls consisting of metal panel, windows, and doors.
So noted. Thank you for the information. Yep.
Are there other questions? Kate?
I just wanted to comment that there's some variances that are being requested for the wetland and drain setbacks. And so there's going to be a meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals on March 11th. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
And do we know what time that meeting's going to be?
Yes, that meeting will be at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And that will be a meeting that's open to the public as well, and it'll be held via Zoom.
Okay. And is that posted on our website?
I will check right now.
Okay, just to make sure that if there's anyone from the public who is interested in that meeting, that they know.
Yes, that agenda is on the township website, and there's the Zoom link there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Patrick, I don't see it in the notes. What was the public benefit on this one? I know sometimes you have that at one of your checklists and your very good notes.
Sure. Many of the developments that come through the Planning Commission and the Township Board are what are called plan development districts, where there's a plan development agreement with modifications from the zoning ordinance, as well as definite benefits. And there's a list of definite benefits in Article 27 of the zoning ordinance. In this particular case, it's not a plan development application, so there are no modifications within what a PD allows. A PD or a plan development can allow significant modifications. The modifications requested by the applicant are within the non-PD standards of the zoning ordinance. So because it's a non-PD application, there's no required definite benefit with this site plan.
Okay. All right. Michael?
I have a question, Patrick, and it's more of a general question, but about we had talked about the variances around masonry and around the concrete. Could you explain why a community might have those kind of provisions inside their zoning ordinance, or what the benefit would be? I assume brick is considered a better material than concrete is probably the reason why. But is that typical for other communities? And yeah, can you talk a little bit about that? I'm just curious.
Sure. Many communities do have architectural standards for buildings, specifically in Canton Township. Many of the architectural standards that we see apply to all types of development, residential, commercial, industrial, and civic. And many communities have similar standards when it comes to industrial buildings. Some have higher standards, some have standards that aren't as high. And in Canton, I wouldn't say that Cantons are out of line, you know, in terms of being too strict or not strict enough. But the section in one of the subsections in 26.06 allows for a modification of that requirement, and it doesn't use the language variance where somebody has to go to the ZBA for a variance from the material. It's a modification, so the standard for a modification is a little bit lower. It's quite a bit lower than a variance, and it can be granted on a case-by-case basis. The main reason to require brick is the projection of quality and durability that brick presents. Structurally, a concrete wall, it'll hold up the building, but brick gives the appearance of quality and more aesthetically pleasing.
I guess too, one more thing that maybe isn't always considered, but something to think about when you, number one, the aesthetics as well, when you have all brick, and then obviously the reuse of a building as well. This building is pretty big. It's gonna be a specific use, but when you have other buildings that could be rezoned or occupied by a different tenant 5-10 years down the road, you have a little bit more flexibility when you have a standardized brick building in regards to the way it looks. So there's that. And then as Patrick touched on the durability of it too, there have been other examples where you go, even if you were to go with a faux brick look, there's been some issues with that type of material as well.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I have one. So as we know that we're looking at a mobility corridor going down Michigan Avenue, are you offering any public charging areas to your employees coming, or to the employees coming in, or at least having it ready?
I can speak to that. So we are putting in the infrastructure for the delivery vehicle fleet. Right now, you know, the conduits and everything prepped for when delivery vehicles, when vans, EV vehicles are available on the market. So whether that's, you know, a year from now, 5 years from now, when those the fleet is available, those would be available to charge for the delivery vehicles, as well as if there's van drivers. The employees, we don't have that incorporated for the employees at this point. For the ones, when I say employees, I'm referring to those who are working inside the facility versus the delivery vehicle drivers.
Is there a reason you wouldn't consider something like that based on, you know, that you do have it for your van? So you definitely are forward thinking. So is there a reason you wouldn't consider it for your employees?
Yeah, I think that's something that is being looked at, but it's not part of the program at this point, outside of, you know, a few select areas that may be overlap that can be used for both vans and associates. I think that the desire is really with all the miles that are put in there for the delivery vehicles. There's a high need for that. But you know, as the growth happens for associates with EV vehicles, I'm sure that'll be certainly examined in the future.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, great. Clerk Segrist, can you please take roll call on the motion?
Borninski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item G4, consider award of a contract to Berkshire Development for the demolition of 2 dangerous buildings at 880 and 890 Lots Road North.
Madam Supervisor, I hereby confirm the order of the hearing officer and approve the demolition of 880 and 890 Lots Road, and further authorize the building official to award a contract to Berkshire Development for an amount not to exceed $23,300.
Support.
Thank you. The properties located at 880 and 890 Lots North, Canton, Michigan, have been in a state of disrepair for some time. Extensive mold and exterior damage are among the major issues. On June 4th, 2019, a dangerous building hearing was held, and it was determined that the structure needed to be demolished. The owner has failed to repair or demolish the structure in the time allotted by the hearing officer and agreed to by the owner, so the township will pursue demolition. The township advertised for bids on February 4th, 2021, and the bids were opened on February 18th, 2021. 9 bids were submitted. The lowest qualified bid received was from Berkshire Development in the amount of $23,300 for both structures. Jade, would you like to add to that?
Yes, as you were speaking, I realized that there was a piece that I updated that I don't think made it into the final RBA, but this actually came back before the board as well back in 2020, and I don't remember the exact month, but the Board of Trustees at the time did uphold the decision that was made by the hearing officer back in June of 2019. So that piece has already been accomplished. Obviously, the work has not been completed, so we are awarding the demolition. And then I believe that as early as tomorrow, Rob Creamer, our building official, is meeting the demolition company out there on site to look at the next steps.
Okay, great, thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Segrist, can you please take a roll call on the motion?
Kordinski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Kinguli.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item G5, consider approving the language for a letter of commitment between Wayne County and the township.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the language of the letter of commitment and to approve the Municipal Services Department to enter a purchase order for the water main work after the bidding process is complete and agreed upon by the county and the township staff in accordance with the attached commitment.
Support.
Thank you. Wayne County is preparing bids for replacement of the Cherry Hill Road Bridge at Ridge Road. Part of this project requires the removal of an existing township-owned water main. The water main is currently in conflict with the proposed location of the future bridge and its foundation. It has historically been the policy of Wayne County that any utilities within their right-of-way that conflict with road or bridge work be relocated at the expense of the utility owner. Engineering Services has been working with Wayne County to coordinate removal of the water main at the expense of the township. However, the work will be bid as part of the county's contract for the bridge work. Wayne County has requested a letter of a commitment to establish technical and financial responsibility for the water main portion. As signing this commitment obligates the township to fund the removal of the existing water main, we are asking that the board allow the Municipal Services Department to enter a purchase order once the bidding process has been completed and the county and township staff have met and agreed upon contractor and the price in order to expedite the process. Jade, would you like to add anything to this one?
Just real quick, that usually whenever we do something with the county, there's an IGA that's involved, but this is actually a little bit different because they're not performing work. This isn't actually the contract that's being awarded. This is to commit that they're going to go ahead and include our portion of the work in the bidding process, which is going to ensure us a better bid price because the same contractor is going to be able to do the work that we need and do the work that the county needs. So from economies of scale, that we will get a better bid proposal by going this direction.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Great, thanks. Clerk Segrist, please take a roll call on the motion.
Kordinski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Kinguli.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item G6, consider authorization of a purchase order from Manick and Smith Group for professional engineering services for the public safety parking lot.
One moment.
Is it stuck? We can read it.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve a purchase order contract for the PSD parking lot design to the Mannequin Smith Group in the amount of $95,000 from the CIP bond accounts and to approve the attached budget amendment.
Support.
Thank you. Replacement and redesign of the public safety parking lot is a current project funded through the capital improvement bond. Municipal Services has worked with Public Safety and Leisure Services to develop alternatives for replacement of the public safety parking lot, including enclosure of some areas. Engineering Services request to retain Mannequin Smith Group for a detailed alternatives analysis, cost estimates, and a final design for a contract amount of $95,000. MSG was selected in 2015 through a competitive bid to handle parking lot designs and planning for the Canton Administrative Complex. Jay, do you have anything to add on that?
No, I do not.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Segris, please take roll call on the motion.
Orninsky.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens. Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item G7, consider waiving the purchasing policy and approve the emergency purchase of a Ford Explorer hybrid police interceptor and approve the budget amendment for the police department.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the purchase of 2021 Ford Explorer Hybrid from Signature Ford at 3942 West Lansing Road, Perry, Michigan, 48872 via Macomb County bid in the amount of $35,834 and to approve a budget amendment for the replacement Ford Explorer as attached.
Or
Thank you. This vehicle was involved in an accident on the evening of February 13th, 2021, where it was in a broadside collision causing significant body and suspension damage to the vehicle. As such, Fleet Services is recommending replacement. If approved by the board, Fleet Services will replace the unit with a 2021 Ford Explorer hybrid per the Macomb County bid awarded to Signature Ford. There is money left over from the 2021 budget in the amount of $30,830. A budget amendment in an amount of $5,004 is necessary as this unit was not budgeted for replacement in 2021. Let's see, Jade, would you like to add anything?
No.
Okay. Chad, would you like to add anything?
Oh, I just think it'd be good. I get one point would be, I believe this is our second hybrid Explorer in the fleet. So the vehicle it's replacing was involved in a crash a few weeks ago. So I appreciate Jade helping us out here.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Our second hybrid, that's great. Any other questions or comments? Kate?
I'm just wondering, do we know how many miles per gallon it will get? And if not, can we get that information?
Yes, I can get that information from you. I'm trying to go through the documents, see if it's listed on the specs, and I don't see that. But
I didn't see it either. That's why.
Yes, I will get that and email it out to the board tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Tanya?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that we are getting another, I think I'm repeating Anne Marie, that we're getting another hybrid vehicle. And it's great that we are slowly moving into alternative energy vehicles here.
That's right. Good job. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? I think I looked it up. Let me see really quick. I think it's saying 27 city, 28 highway.
Madam Supervisor, I can send you the brochure. It's pretty.
Okay. Great, thank you. And we can send it out. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Segris, please take a roll call on the motion.
Orninsky.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Segrist. Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item G8, consider awarding bid and approve purchase orders for pedestrian door improvement at Canton Department of Public Works.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve a purchase order and award bid for pedestrian door replacement at Canton DPW to Gandol Door and Hardware in the amount of $25,785.
Support.
Thank you. As part of the Canton Capital Improvement Program, it was noted that the pedestrian doors at DPW required attention. On January 28, 2021, open bids were returned for pedestrian door improvement at the Canton Public Works Building. 3 bids were received with Gandol Doors and Hardware coming in lowest. References have been checked and Canton Municipal Services Public Works is recommending Gandol Doors and Hardware in the amount of $25,785. In review of the 3 bids, it was found that Gandol omitted 4 doors that were to be included in the project. Gandol was contacted and asked to bid the 4 doors and still were found to be the lowest qualified bidder. All proposals are included. Director Jade, would you like to add anything?
Just that this is part of the CIP program that was approved last year. So we're just going through the normal process of bidding this out and getting those projects completed.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Kate?
Thanks. I just wanted to say thank you for attaching the sheet with the 3 bids on it, and note that one is really quite a lot higher than the others. So I find it kind of interesting. It's quite an outlier. But thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Anything else? Okay, Clerk Segrist, please take roll call on the motion.
Orninsky.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye. Motion passes. Item G9, consider request for vacation of Yost Road between Belleville Road and Sheldon Road.
So this is an interesting situation where I'm not entirely certain which motion to make. Do you want to change procedure and have a presentation and then see what people want to do?
Sure, I can read the executive summary in the background. Should we start with that? Okay. Okay. Do we need a motion, correct? I mean, a support? Or do you want me to just?
So
change?
I don't know what to, I can make a motion and see if it passes, or
Just do a presentation, read it.
we could have a presentation.
Okay, I'll read it. So Canton has received via Wayne County a request from Gary Percy to abandon Yost Road between Belleville Road east to Sheldon Road. Under state law, MCL 224.18, because the request was not signed by all the adjacent property owners, the county must notify the township boards of any townships in which the road lies. The north 1/2 of Yost Road lies within Canton Township and the south 1/2 of the road is in Van Buren Township. The township has 30 days to act on the petition or it is deemed approved. The background is, this is not the first request Canton has received to abandon Yost Road. In fact, requests have been submitted by Gary Percy dating back to when Tom Yak was township supervisor. Supervisor Yak and former Supervisor Phil LaJoy consistently responded that Canton objected to the abandonment and that the applications were denied. In 2018, a request was received, and without consulting the township board, former Supervisor Pat Williams indicated the township's consent subject to the reclassification of Sheldon Road from Yost Road to Michigan Avenue as a primary road. The preparation of easements in favor of the township to access its water main and existing fire hydrants located within the road right-of-way, as well as fire department connections to the buildings located farthest east on Yost, and finally, a water main maintenance agreement. After almost 2 years of working with the petitioner's engineer, easements were finally prepared. Petitioner's counsel was supposed to be obtaining the signatures on the easement documents of the other adjacent property owners. It is not known whether they were ever obtained. An amended vacation request was submitted on or about February 11, 2021. The 2018 request needed to be amended due to an incorrect legal description for the proposed area to be abandoned. Attached is a copy of the request received along with a copy of the tax parcel map showing the Canton Township property impacted and an aerial photograph of the area. As you will note, there are multiple parcels that border Yost Road, but only one property owner has signed the petition necessitating notice to Canton. The board has 3 actions it can consider. 1, consent to the abandonment with no conditions. 2, consent to the abandonment with the condition that easements are retained for public utilities. Or 3, object to the abandonment. If the board consents to the abandonment, it has additional 3 options to consider. 1, the township can assume jurisdiction of the road and continue to use it as a public road. 2, the township can assume jurisdiction of the road and close it to public travel. Or 3, the township can determine not to take jurisdiction of the abandoned road. If the township determines not to take jurisdiction over the abandoned road, the property will revert to the adjoining landowners. So,
Madam Supervisor, if I can, I have some updates for the board.
Sure, go ahead.
At 3:15 today, I received from the petitioner's attorney a copy of the petition that was actually given to Wayne County. He is asserting that it has been signed by all the property owners adjacent to Belleville Road or that have property that border on excuse me, not Belleville, but Yost. Unfortunately, I had to leave the office about 15 minutes later, so I had no ability to verify whether that's true or not. The petition is also, it's quite thick, I believe, because it was signed in counterpart. So it's probably about 25 pages thick. There's a list of names and signatures, but I again, I had to leave the office, so I can't verify. I don't know that that necessarily changes anything for the board. Wayne County has still asked for the township's position on the abandonment of the road. Council has indicated to me he thinks that the township should not even be considering this, but I told him Wayne County specifically requested of the township that we indicate consent or objection to the petition. So the matter is still before the board. Additionally, he indicates all those easements were signed, but he did not provide me copies of them. So I've not seen any signed easements for the utilities and that Canton owns that are under what's now a public road. So those are the updates for the board. I'm also happy to, answer any questions. The pursuance of the abandonment of Yost Road has been going on as long as I've been with Canton, which is more than 9 years. So there's a long history. But as you noticed in the RBA, there's a number of concerns. Obviously, there's public utilities in the road. There's a fire hydrant located down Belleville Road. There's also the connections to the various buildings for the fire department, should there ever be a fire or emergency in any of those buildings. It's my understanding currently there's been a fence erected across the road. I've not personally seen it myself, but obviously at this point that's a concern because it still is a public road and they should not be blocking access.
Thank you. When is the 30 days? The 30 days, when is that up? That we have to answer?
I believe it is the 11th. So in 2 days from now to get a response to the couney.
That sounds right. Everything I received either came in by email or, through a letter, but the letter itself from the county is not dated. So it's a little difficult to track when it actually came in.
So and I apologize, Kristen, but what you don't have is this was actually sent certified to the DPW building. So I believe it is the 11th.
Okay.
We have that certification, so.
We have 2 days to make this decision. So just to let you know, I personally drove the road last week and there is a fence across it. So there is a fence blocking the road. Any questions or comments?
I guess I do have a comment. I just have to reiterate what Kristen had just said too about the utility access, and that would be a major concern for us. as we have water main that goes down there. And I know I spoke with Chief Stockline in regards to the access to the fire too. And so I can't let it go by without the board knowing that we do have utility down that road.
Thank you. Chris, can you talk about really quickly the fire suppression that you have there also?
I would also say that a fence is obviously a big concern for the fire department if we can't have access to the fire hydrant and as well as FDC. I don't know where that location's at. I'll have to go down there and check that out. But the FDC, what they're referring to is a fire department connection. So if there is a fire inside that building, that is the connection that we will take the fire hydrant, hook into our truck, and then pump water into that FDC, which then in turn supplies water through the sprinkler system in that building. So without access to that, we pretty much have to rely on interior firefighting or exterior firefighting from that point, and can't supply that that system. So it's always a big concern if we can't have access to that.
Thank you. Kate, you had a question?
So I'm wondering if we consent to the abandonment of the road, does that mean that then it becomes a private road? I'm trying to understand, like, what would be the obligations of the county and of the township if we consented to the abandonment?
As I understand it, there's 3 options. We can leave it as a road, but Canton is responsible for maintaining it, which would include snow plows, replacement of concrete to the extent there is. It's not paved the entire mile, or I guess it's about 3,000 feet is what Nicole Borscher, GIS specialist, computed. We can keep it, we can take jurisdiction over it and not leave it open as a road, but we would own that long, narrow strip. And the third option, if the township doesn't want to take jurisdiction over it all, it reverts to the property owner. And it would be split along the center line of the right of way, with half going to the, owners within Canton Township and the southern half going to owners within the, within Van Buren Township. Now, one of the things I was going back and forth with council between 3:15 and about 5:30 is that provision doesn't apply in this case because all the property owners have consented to the abandonment. But again, I couldn't verify that in the time that I had. So I can't tell you for sure whether that's going to happen.
So if we do not consent to the abandonment, does Wayne County still own it, or what happens then?
It's not clear to me whether Wayne County would still go ahead and abandon it, even without the consent of the township. Like the RBA says, prior to Supervisor Williams, the requests in the past were always objected to by the township, and therefore the county denied the abandonment request. So it's not entirely clear if they would continue that same strategy or if they would go ahead and abandon it over the objections of Canton Township.
Okay. Bill Surchak's also on, and he also talked about, that's considered a mile road in Canton.
Yeah. Paul Zook from the Wayne County, I see, is also attending the meeting. Maybe he could answer those questions for you.
Okay, I will allow Paul to
promote him.
Hello, Paul. Paul, can you hear? You're on mute. You can tell me. Okay, Paul, can you answer any of the questions? Paul, can you hear us?
I think he's coming in now.
Yeah. Hello, Paul. Did you hear the questions? Just to let you know, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
No, we had you unmuted, but we still couldn't hear you.
I'll try.
Does it work now?
Yes.
Yep.
There we go. Okay. What was the question again?
If the township objects to the abandonment, would the county still go ahead and approve the petition, or would it not? Do you have a feeling of how that would go?
We would have a public hearing with a hearing officer who would notify all the people involved with the abandonment that they have the opportunity to attend the public hearing and object. And the hearing officer would then take into consideration all of the persons who came to the meeting, the merits of the objection, and whether or not it would be in the best interest of the public to move forward with the abandonment or to side with keeping it a public road.
Question real quick, if it went that route, would the township be notified of the public hearing as well?
Absolutely, yes.
All right.
And I believe the prior supervisor did sign off on the abandonment after it was determined that Sheldon Road was a public road, or I'm sorry, was converted from a local to a county road. So it met their requirements at the time. The biggest obstacle to the abandonment at the time was DTE was objecting because they were afraid they would lose access to their substation at the corner. And the frontage that they have on Yost is where their access drive is to the substation. So they wanted to leave 225 feet of Yost as a public road along their north property line to maintain their access. The petitioner and DTE got together and decided that they would put together a mutual access agreement that allowed them to abandon all of Yost Road and make provisions so that DTE would never lose access, despite the fact that they were going to put up a fence. DTE was guaranteed that they would have access to their property anytime they needed it.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Tanya?
Yeah, I just, I think Chris talked about the fire hydrant issue. So Mr. Zook also mentioned about the utilities, but about the, so if it becomes a private road, we still have to provide them with fire and public safety, right?
If the road is abandoned, the right-of-way disappears, meaning that it is no longer a public road or a private road. It's just vacant land. And the title to the property reverts to anyone that abuts that particular road. So in Canton Township, any of the property owners on the north side of the road would acquire their half of the right-of-way to the center line of Yost Road added to their properties. Mr. Percy owns the majority of the land on the north side. He would get the biggest chunk of it. Steel Technologies would get a small section. And I believe there's a small manufacturing company right at the northwest corner of Sheldon and Yost that would get a small, I'm not sure if they would receive it or not, but Steel Technologies and Mr. Percy are the primary landowners on the north side.
So Kristen, what is our biggest concern of this becoming a private road? Like, is there any issue?
Mr. Surchek could probably comment on that more than I have, because he's been around for all the prior requests that have come in. One of the issues, of course, is access to our water main. Secondly, Mr. Surchek has indicated concerns about abandoning what's essentially a mile road. Give you that east-west access between Sheldon and Belleville Road.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got any other issues he'd care to share.
But and not to trump whatever Mr. Surchek has to say, but I would have to say, and I think Chris would agree with me, that if we lose access at any point in time to our water, and we have a water main break, or we lose access to the fire, the ability to put out a fire, that's a huge, huge concern. And if we're already talking about a section of the road that is closed off by a fence, some sort of barrier, what is the likelihood that it's going to continue that way? So access east and west, I get that, but I'm very concerned about losing access to the utilities.
Thank you. Actually, and Bill, if you wouldn't mind just commenting on the importance of a mile road. I mean, why there were basically stating no before Pat Williams signed this without board approval.
Well, historically, there had been several requests to abandon that road, and it had been denied in the past. I think Kristen put it correctly that it is an east-west connection. We have not in the past abandoned mile roads. There really is use on both sides, which is industrial, and it's not really a developed area. There's some industry, but there could be future industry if you're looking out, you know, in years past, talking with our planners and previous administrations, issues of future use came up. So I think Jade and Kristen were correct in summing up some of our concerns in the past.
Thank you. Kate?
So I guess I'm a little stuck on this, but if the road were abandoned, then who would be responsible for maintaining the road and understanding that the road is now maybe not really considered a road anymore. It's just property that taken over by the owners on the north and south.
It would be their responsibility if the county determines that it reverts to them.
So then there could be the possibility of different levels of maintenance along that stretch. If not,
yeah, but it's not going to be open to vehicular traffic. It's going to become private property.
well, but I mean, I don't know where I'm looking at the map, trying to figure out where the different lots are. And I understand there's not that many, but I don't know, is the furthest, like, if somebody's got a neighbor on one side of them that's not maintaining the road, but they're maintaining it and they can't get to their section. Do you understand what I'm saying? That there might be differences in maintenance, and understand that it's not a public road, but you still need to get to your property if you're a property owner.
I can't speak for the Van Buren properties because I don't have their tax parcel map.
Right.
So the only property that would potentially be landlocked is the Steel Technologies parcel, which is in between the 80 transport property and the vacant property that was cleared of trees that you're all familiar with. I don't know if there's another access to that property. Maybe Mr. Zook knows, I don't. But otherwise,
think of, you know, what all the possibilities are, and to me,
yeah,
because that might be a problem.
The property that's furthest east is the Swiss Screw, and that's accessed from Sheldon. So going east to west on the Canton Township side, the only parcel that's not owned by the Percy's or one of their entities is that Steel Technologies. And like I said, I don't know if that's landlocked or if they have another way to access that. Mr. Zook, do you happen to know?
Their primary access is off of Belleville Road. We would never abandon a road causing a landlocked situation. That would be so problematic, and legally, I don't even think we could do that. So Steel Technologies has read the petition. They've signed off on the abandonment, so they're aware of the fact that Yost would be eliminated as a public road. And the question seems to be, what happens after the abandonment? It is no longer a public road. There is no responsibility at all for any maintenance regarding what would typically be done to a public road. The abandonment clearly says that there will be a reservation of easements for all public utilities, meaning that wherever those utilities lie at the moment of abandonment, there will be an easement reserved for those utilities, meaning that they remain the property of the township, that they don't revert to the property owner, and that easement allows them access to maintain those utilities. And I did see Mr. Percy did submit several very detailed meets and bounds and survey sketches that showed the layout of that water main along Yost Road. So it has been surveyed, but I don't know what the status is between Mr. Percy and the township as far as the approval of that particular agreement, but it has been addressed in the past. I just don't know to what extent it's been finalized.
And do you know about the fire in terms of accessing the fire areas, Mr. Zook?
No, I don't. That would be an issue with the township as far as your ordinances for fire safety. I don't know what your requirements would be for that, but all of the as far as the fencing goes, that's something you would have to discuss with Mr. Percy. I don't know if the township would accept him putting up fencing in that area. The fence itself would be similar to any other property owner fencing off property. The access would have to be gotten to through the township's, whatever their zoning requirements would be for fire safety and things of that nature. But there is a fence right now across the portion. Yost is not a contiguous road right now. When you get about 2/3 of the way from Belleville Road, it turns into two dirt ruts that no one could drive through. So it can't be used as a public road right now anywhere past that point to Sheldon. Your car or vehicles would get stuck.
Which is an important point for the board to understand, because right now it's very difficult to access the water main and the utilities from Sheldon Road. You would need, and especially once you get into late spring over the summer, they cannot get the vehicles down that road because it gets so overgrown.
Yeah.
So the access from Belleville is their only way to get back there to do any, maintenance, repairs, work on the water main that is under Yost Road currently.
Correct.
And with that fence there, it's you can't get to it. Michael, you would raise your hand?
Yeah, I saw that Director Ball had his hand raised as well, but I that water main that's over there on Yost Road, has that at any point in time ever been accessed extra legally without consent from the township?
There were 3 incidents in the late 90s, early 2000s, where it was discovered that a bypass had been installed and or turned on to avoid the water meter, servicing some of the property down there. That was ultimately resolved through litigation in 2003, 2004. But there was 3 incidents where DPW noticed high water usage in that area, and they sent staff out and found that the bypass had been turned on and the water was not flowing through the meter. So that had to be corrected until finally, I believe after the 3rd time, the bypass was removed.
Okay. Yeah, and had we not found that, the bulk of the Canton residents would have had to pay for the use of that water, correct, in our increased water rates? Is that how that?
Yes, that would, yeah, because we look at our total usage on an annual basis, and then that goes into the calculation as to how we determine rates for the next year. So yes.
So that's essentially stealing from the public. Okay, and then my next question, I think, is outside of forgetting the property owners entirely, that's the township border. It's a mile road. Yost, if it were contiguous, would eventually meet up with Van Born, and that would be our township border. And so if we're looking at long-term financial or long-term development of the township, thinking about what Canton looks like 100 years from now, 50 years from now, 40 years from now, if we start abandoning that right of way, we've essentially created a situation where an individual would, to go east-west, would either have to go Van Born or go all the way up to Michigan Avenue, which is a pretty sizable distance to travel. And so that's something I think that's weighing on my thoughts here, is losing that mile east-west road there. And then just out of curiosity, to construct a barrier on a public road is illegal, right? I assume that's illegal.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, Mr. Zook, what is the county's position on this? Are you willing, are you looking to abandon this right of way, or are you just going to seriously consider the petitioner's request?
When we're approached by someone for an abandonment, we go through the process, as long as it's a logical request. If it's something that's completely ridiculous, we won't move forward with it. But in this case, Mr. Percy made arguments to the county. The county is in agreement with the abandonment. We've received the required number of signatures from not only the abutting owners, but the other freeholder requirements. So Mr. Percy's met his end so far, with the exception of Canton Township. Van Buren signed off on the abandonment. We're waiting for Canton's response. If Canton refuses, then that information would be turned over to my department supervisors to determine if we need to move forward with a public hearing. And like I said, after that point, all the parties involved would have a chance to make their position known on the abandonment, and the referee would make the decision if it was in the best interest to move forward from that point.
Mr. Zook, do you happen to know the prior request prior to 2018, when the township always indicated objection? Were hearings held in those situations?
From what I understand, the primary objection was that if Yost was lost as a public road, they were concerned about traffic flows and the ability to improve the surrounding roads to accommodate that loss in traffic. And so the request was made that Sheldon be reclassified from a local to a primary road, which was accomplished. MDOT did agree to that. I believe it was 2018. And after that point, the township's requirements were met, and they agreed to move forward with the abandonment.
Well, there was something signed by the supervisor, not approved by the board. That's where what you have.
Correct.
Chad, you had your hand up?
Said one thing, and it piggybacks a little bit on the clerk. It is one of the few defined borders on our south end. So just for context for the board, you may not realize it, but that is just one of the few defined areas where we know where that's our southern border, east and west.
Thank you. Summer?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Jade said. I am really concerned about losing access to that water main, particularly because they put a fence up on a road that they didn't own. And they're blocking access. That really concerns me. And I think once they own the road, there's no telling what type of barrier that they would put up.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. I think that's a huge concern, because if it's a public road right now, but there's already access being blocked by that fence.
Yeah, I have the same concerns too, that, especially with the fire hydrant, and it becomes a safety issue on top of access. So I'm not comfortable with this.
I also, in terms of the utilities, that's the main concern for me. So if there was some kind of agreement that could become part of this, like DTE did with them, then perhaps I'd entertain it. I mean, I know it is a border road, but it's not contiguous in any way. I mean, it stops to the west, it stops to the east. It starts up again. It's cut by railroad tracks, and then starts up again for a little bit, and then just disappears completely by the time it gets to Lily Road. So I mean, it's not really any kind of major thoroughfare. But I wouldn't go forward without access to water mains and any other utilities that we need. So
Diane? Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, so in my mind, I would need some kind of agreement for that.
Diane?
Just a couple things. One, Kristen, is the supervisor, does he have, or he or she, can they send a letter of abandonment without the board's consent? I mean, that sounds kind of like quite an overreach, first and foremost.
So the statute says that the notice is supposed to go to the township board. And then the board indicates its consent. So, you know, I think that
that didn't happen.
One member of the elected body making a decision is probably not appropriate.
Thank you.
Trying to find the actual statute here. Got it. Yeah, the board shall, the township board. Yeah, I mean, it talks consistently throughout the statute about the township board. So I think the supervisor probably did not have the authority to make that decision without some action of the board.
Okay, thank you. And then the other thing is, like Chris had said, if they need to get through that road for a fire or whatever, I think it's ridiculous to abandon this road. And then obviously, did they pull a permit for the fence, Jay, do you know, or they just put it up? No.
No, there was no, and it's not really a fence. It's just a
barricade.
It's just a barricade, correct?
No, there's a fence. There's a barricade when you first go on. When you drive further down the road, there's a fence all the way across the road.
Okay, I stand corrected. I did not see the fence. I just saw the barricade.
Yeah, there's a fence.
Yeah, there's been a concrete barricade there for years.
Yeah.
It's been in place for years. The police have assumed that was approved somehow. We never knew otherwise until the last time we spoke on this topic.
Would Wayne County have approved that, or?
We have no record of any approval for that barrier. I believe it was an attempt to keep Mr. Percy says the semi trucks that leave the Costco across the street turn down that road thinking it's a through street, and they get stuck on his property and they destroy his property trying to turn around. And that's the primary one of the reasons why he wants the road abandoned is to get the truck traffic from coming onto his property and doing damage.
Does the county still have a contiguous right-of-way from, for the entire 6 miles of Canton Township along that southern border, or have you abandoned any of those others?
I couldn't tell you if there's been any other abandonments in that area. I'm not familiar with any, but we do have the contiguous right-of-way between Belleville and Sheldon. So that is a public road. Even though it can't be accessed physically, the right-of-way is still there. So the county could come in at any time and improve that road if they choose to do so.
Yeah.
Michael, I believe Yost, I'm looking at the aerial right now. Yost kind of, it goes till Sheldon, although it's not paved all the way through. And then it kind of goes a little bit further east and then it curves up and kind of ends.
Tracks. It can't go under or over the railroad tracks.
Yeah, you can't,
And it continues on the east side of the railroad tracks.
I'm not talking about the existing road. I'm talking about the right-of-way that exists.
Oh, yeah.
Of the road, because there are portions where Morton Taylor does not go through, but the county has still maintained their right-of-way. And while it's a forest, it's still technically a right-of-way that is owned by the county and has yet to be abandoned.
Yeah, I would suspect that those rail tracks have been there for a very long time.
Right.
So it's difficult to say.
Okay, so yeah, that's just my question, because I again, I won't reiterate the fact that there could be a street there in 30 or 40 years, but outside of that, I'll be clear, even regardless of there being an agreement with the current property owners, I'm not looking to get back into court again, we've got an issue with a fence that was erected on a thoroughfare, illegally. You've got issues with water being tapped into, not legally. We've had issues with buildings not having certificate of occupancies in compliance with our building code. Not to mention every other issue you've had. Wetland issues to county drains, damage to county drains on adjacent property there. And then obviously the more high profile situation where the second disregard for the tree replacement ordinance. So enter into any legal contract you want to about access to those easements. I can tell you to enforce that, you're going to have to get into a courtroom in the future.
Mhm.
I'm not voting to abandon this right of way. I'm not interested in jumping into that.
Right.
Fool me
Anyone else?
Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yeah, and I mean, we can go around to know what motion to make and see how everybody feels. But in terms of, Diane, do you want to give an indication of what motion you would like to make?
I don't want to abandon.
Thank you. Summer?
I'm not abandoning the road.
Stephen?
Yeah, I don't think we need to abandon the road with all the issues of utilities. One thing I would ask is if it would be possible for the county to put up signs that say not a through street or dead end or something like that on that road, just so if that's the main issue, that he doesn't like that semi trucks go down there thinking they can get through, then maybe we can help with that. And then maybe we can get an agreement that they will take down the fence if that happens. I mean, obviously the county could force them to take down the fence, but if anything, I'd be interested in seeing that pursued, but not abandoning the road.
Thank you. Tanya?
Yeah, no, I'm not for abandoning the road. I need more information, and I am very concerned about like the safety issues and the utility access. That is more concerning to me. And as of now, until there is a huge issue that we have to abandon it, and they have signatures from everybody, and that's something that it's out of our hands, then we'll think about it. But as of now, I don't want to abandon it.
Thank you. Kate?
Yeah, I do not want to abandon this road either. I'm concerned about emergency access for our fire and police, and then also the utility access to the water main. And I don't know that I believe in abandoning public property.
Thank you. I also agree that I would vote to not abandon the road. I agree that we have to look into the future. We're looking at a mobility corridor, so we're going to need maybe some side access for traffic flow. And also, when I think about what is best for Canton residents, I can't understand how abandoning a road would benefit Canton residents in the future or even now. And based on even, with what we've gone through. All right, great. So Clerk Segers, can you read the motion?
Madam Supervisor, I move to indicate Canton's objection to the request to abandon Yost Road between Belleville and Sheldon Roads for the following reasons: public safety, utility access, future development, and road and traffic displacement. And anything else that anyone want to add? Okay.
Thank you. Can I please have since we've discussed it already, Clerk Segers, can you please take a roll call on the motion?
Orninsky.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segers, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item G10, consider approving the purchase of police uniforms and vest carriers from Ally Brothers Incorporated and an associated amendment to the 2021 police budget.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the purchase of specified police uniforms and vest carriers from Ally Brothers Incorporated in the amount of $80,983.84, less a $16,000 credit from Utility Incorporated to be paid directly to the vendor, bringing Canton's total to $64,983.84. Additionally, I move to approve the attached amendment to the 2021 police budget.
Support.
Thank you. In January, the township advertised a request for proposal of Lafleur police uniforms, pants, shirts, and vest carriers specifically equipped to accommodate the department's new body-worn cameras. 3 proposals were received, and upon review, the department is requesting to purchase these new police uniforms from Ally Brothers Incorporated for a total amount of $80,983.84. The total amount due will be less a $16,000 credit from Utility Incorporated to be paid directly to Ally Brothers Incorporated, bringing Canton's total to $64,983.84. A request to amend the 2021 police budget to use forfeiture funds for this expense is also included. Director Bau, do you want to add anything?
Oh, just the only thing I have is for uniformity. Over a period of 25 years I've been here, the quartermaster system's been used. There's anywhere between 3 to 4 different uniform shirts while they're all black. I think this is not only a way to bring, if you look in that packet, you're going to see suspenders in there too, and that will help with back injuries, some nerve pain that comes associated with the weight that officers carry on their belt, but also adapted look, more progressive material. And this body cam system is very innovative, and it's not bulky. And we're still maintaining, you know, a police uniform look, not a military look. So this is just a progression, but still tied to our past. So provide some context. The $16,000 credit that you can see in the packet, that's just a credit for the retrofit that was owed to us from the vendor in the contract that you signed, I believe, in August, or approved in August.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, Clerk Segers, can you please take a roll call on the motion?
Orninsky.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguli.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Last item, G11, consider approval of budget amendment and merit recommendation.
And Supervisor, I move to accept the Mayor Commission's recommendation to reclassify the assistant clerk position from a merit grade 7 employee to a merit grade 8 effective immediately, and amend the budget with the following amendment.
Support.
Thank you. Job analysis questionnaire was submitted with the directors of support to increase the assistant clerk merit commission classification. The intent was to bring the position in alignment with other township managers in light of the recent increase in workload and expansion of duties in both quantity and complexity. HR recommended after evaluation that the assistant clerk be classified as a grade 8 employee. The Merit Commission voted to approve that recommendation. Clerk Segers, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, no, just this position has changed a little bit since its initial conception in 2015. Most notably, we've added two additional election-related servers that have to be administered, programming that has to be done for the election equipment that's done at the local level, obviously increased scrutiny under elections. The position was made the FOIA coordinator by the Board of Trustees. That was a role that was taken from the clerk and added to the deputy because the clerk sits on the FOIA review panel with the township as well. And in doing so, this position oversees two FOIA administrators, one on the public safety side and one on the admin side. So those are kind of the main reasons why we pushed for the reclassification of the position. And yeah.
Great, thank you. Any comments or questions? Great. Clerk Segers, please take a roll call on the motion.
Bornanski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguli.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens.
Aye.
and Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is public comment. So I'm looking for hands on the public. I don't see any phones to press *6, but if anyone wants to speak at public comment, please raise your hand. This is our second public comment. I don't see any hands. Okay, thank you. Is there anything else that any of the directors or anyone wants to bring up? I know this has been a long meeting. Kate?
I just wanted to say that tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of the first cases of COVID-19 in Michigan. And so I hope that everyone remembers this year and what we've gone through, and that we've all made it this far, minus some very dearly loved people. And that also, I hope that everyone is still taking care of each other and, you know, doing all the things like social distancing and wearing masks that we need to keep doing until we reach herd immunity. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Summer?
I'll just add that I heard some really good things about the vaccination clinics that we have going on. I know that now we're doing them at Schoolcraft for the next couple of days, and a number of us are signed up to volunteer, but I'm really happy that we could do this for our community. And, you know, I think we've pretty much worked through the waiting list from what I've heard. And so I've heard really good things. People are really excited that they've been able to get vaccinated.
Yes, thank you, definitely. And we're doing some more vaccination. Schoolcraft is helping us clear our waiting list. And like you said, we've already vaccinated 1,250 people and another 4,750 Wednesday through Saturday. So that's exciting. Anyone else? Diane?
I'll just say something real quick. I want to reiterate or echo what everyone else is saying. And also I want to, you know, thank all the leadership in Canton Township because it seems like a year ago we shut down and everybody was working long hours trying to figure out what we were going to do to keep our staff safe and our community safe. So I just want to thank all of you for all of your hard work because, you know, we've been through a lot and we appreciate all that you've done for both our employees and the community.
Yes, thank you. Michael?
Everything that Diane said, because that was eloquent and beautiful. And thank you very much for doing that. It is bizarre to think about. It's been a year and wow, a lot has happened and changed. On top of that, I wanted to, with the last item that we just approved, the reclassification of the deputy clerk position, you know, a little bit of good news that I've yet to communicate from the dais here to the, well, from my office essentially, but the metaphorical dais to the public is that the clerk's office won an EAC, an Election Assistance Commission award, clearinghouse award. And that is in large part due to the efforts of the deputy clerk, Anthony Essmaker. He, and this is not his first cleary. He is one of 5 Michigan recipients over the course of the awards. He has won it twice. Of the 5 people in Michigan who have won it, his location has won it twice. And that's some of the revolutionary stuff that, you know, that he brings to it. And I'm very grateful for that. We were highlighted for innovation in cybersecurity and technology. One, we put all of our election inspector training online because we couldn't train 300 people in person safely. 2, we did a number of videos about the process for how we conduct the elections for transparency purposes, because the election was getting kind of crazy. A lot of weird stuff was getting said. And then 3, we implemented a line management system that ended up both cutting down the time it takes for someone to wait in line to get a ballot and vote early, quote unquote, vote an absentee ballot in person early, and to do it safely. We really cut, you know, the state average was a half hour. Our average was 5 minutes, 5 minutes. And that was where we were. In some days we handled over 900 people in a day. So we couldn't have done it safely, with 0 COVID cases in my office. And and I'm very grateful for that. And it was because of this. So to get that recognition was huge, and I can't take credit for it in its entirety. I have to share it with with Anthony, especially with my entire staff, and then with everybody else in the township who made it possible. One, the board financially allowed us to do what we could do. My election commission, you know, and then every director, every manager, people from all different departments chipped in the election. So I am grateful, and thank you all for allowing me to look good in the nerdy world of clerking.
Congratulations. Anyone else? Tanya?
Yeah, I just want, first of all, I wanted to agree with what Michael said about the wait times, because in late October, one of my close friends in Canton became a citizen, and she was able to register to vote and vote within 10 minutes with her husband, who are new citizens. And it was they had a wonderful experience, and they were very appreciative of it. And I also am hearing a lot of feedback about the form and people getting appointments, because now that there are some people with, you know, just above 50 group opened up with underlying conditions. I've heard from some people in the community, some of my friends who were able to get appointments this week. So they're very appreciative of it. And I am looking forward to having the community vaccinated in no time and the way we are going.
Right. Thank you. Anyone else? Chris?
Just real quick, you know, we're going to be operating out of our new fire station within the next week here. So we're very happy about that, and we can't wait to start providing even a better service for the community up in that area. So we look forward to making sure that we continue that, and thank the board again for all their support through this process.
No, can't wait for the opening this week.
Looking forward to it.
Exciting. Anyone else? So you should all be getting an update soon from Kristen Kolb. She's been working hard and she was able to settle some cases for us, so we're going in the right direction. So that's exciting. You'll see some of that news soon. Good job, Kristen. And then Wendy's working hard on the audit. And I know Greg is working hard on some of the CIP things along with Jade. And the whole board basically has been working with the directors on our goals, which we're excited about. You know, we have everybody here that's helping to push this forward, and we'll be rolling it out to the community. So you guys have been working hard, and thanks for educating everybody on a lot of what we're working on. You know, Chad and Chris, I know you've got a lot of things on your plate right now, and everybody does, actually everybody does from COVID. So we're looking forward to when we can all be in person again and hopefully get some semblance soon. Anything else? Okay, well, can I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All right, thank you. Thanks for everybody. And Clerk Seegers, please take roll call on the motion.
Korninski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Slavens.
Aye.
Snyderman.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Grim Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist. Aye.
Great. Thank you, everybody, and to the attendees who stuck it through too. Also, thanks. Have a good day. Night.